Hi, my name is Caroline Martin. I'm a 3-day event rider.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Furlong with BW Furlong and Associates.
Johnny has been my vet for the past 6 years. I trust Johnny Furlong with, honestly, my life. I trust him with my horses. He's the only other person that I have looking out for these horses and helping me get to the bottom of them, making sure that they feel 100%.
So as we get up to 4- and 5-star level, like these horses need to be tremendously fit to do their jobs, not to perform, but also for the soft tissue structures to cope with the work that they need to do.
The most proactive approach we found is using polyglycan to help make healthy joint support. We've had horses that made their careers last longer due to the fact of polyglycan.
Everything that we can do to try to keep those joints as healthy as we can through that training cycle is really important. And polyglycan's, a useful tool that can help do what we need so these horses can train the way we need them to.
This device is restricted to use by or on the order of a licensed veterinarian.
Hi everyone, I'm Frankie Terriot-Stutz, joined by Lynn Szymanski to interview Jennie Brannigan, who sits down with us on this episode of Behind the Barn to have some laughs, maybe a little bit of serious talk, and answer those questions we've all been eagerly awaiting answers to. So let's first give Jennie a proper introduction before we kick things off. Jennie Brannigan is one heck of a horseback rider and an adrenaline junkie. She's spent time on the racetrack, steeplechase fields, and has countless podium finishes in the sport of 3D eventing. She exemplifies grit, determination, and hard work, which have propelled her to the top of the sport. And as a top-level competitor, she's earned numerous accolades, including wins at the prestigious competitions such as Fairhill International, Galway Downs, and beyond. Brannigan has represented the United States on the global stage, showcasing her exceptional horsemanship and dedication. Beyond her competition success, she's also a respected trainer and advocate for the equestrian community, a Broussard Grant recipient, and her perseverance, skill, and passion have solidified her as a leading figure in the sport. So, without further ado, thanks to Bimeda, a global leader in animal health, offering a comprehensive line of equine products designed to support horse health and performance, including the ones in Jennie's lineup. Their equine range includes dewormers, joint supplements, wound care solutions, and medications for pain management and respiratory health. With a strong commitment to quality and innovation, Bimeda provides veterinarians, trainers, and horse owners with trusted products that help maintain peak condition and overall well-being in horses. And with all that said, now I finally get to officially welcome my friend Jennie Brannigan. Thanks for sitting down with us, and welcome to Behind the Barn.
Impressive to be able to say all that stuff. Well done, buddy.
Did you get it all?
Oh, yes. Thank you. There will be a test later. So Lynn gets to go ahead and kick things off with our first question. So Lynn, now it's your turn.
Yeah. So Jennie, the sport has evolved so much in so many ways in the tack, but out of the tack, especially with social media and how much everybody's accessible all the time. And I know you're very active on social media and do a great job. And what do you feel like is one of the biggest misconceptions on what is presented to the public versus what you are actually like behind the scenes in real life?
Yeah, I think I try to be really friendly to everyone and a happy, good energy person, but I struggle with mental health issues. Like I have depression and very much struggle with it and just don't show it in public. And I think people would probably be a little surprised to hear that because I do try to be like kind and energetic and friendly to everyone all the time. And I don't think people probably know that about me. Like it's a struggle every day for me. It's not natural for me to be like that. And maybe that's why I have a lot of empathy and try to be kind to everyone. But yeah, it's not easy, and I always isolate myself when I'm having a hard time. So that's something that probably just now I feel comfortable to talk about. I think you end up putting on a bit of a mask in the sense of like just wanting people to see the best parts of you. And I've always tried to be fairly real about my shortcomings in a lot of ways, but I haven't been as open talking about that as I could be, I think. And I think it's important.
I want to chime in because I'll get emotional, but my oldest son has a lot of really hard mental health stuff. And you've been such a, your openness about it has helped me so much. It's given me an outlet to be able to ask questions that I can't ask him because he's 9, and get real answers of like, how would this make you feel, or what should I do on this day, or how can I help in this situation? And I think that you bring up such a valid point, and to me, you're so brave, to be open and honest, because it's hard for people to do that a lot of times, but it's inspirational. And for me, at least, it's changed my outlook and my ability to be able to help my son. So that's just true truths. I mean, I really appreciate the person you are, not just the horseback rider you are. And I think it's easy in this sport. You know, the reason we wanted to start Behind the Barn originally actually was to tell the stories of these amazing athletes, because you guys are all such amazing athletes, but there's a lot more to you than just being incredible on the back of a horse. And I think people forget about that sometimes.
Like I personally feel like when I can point out my mistakes or weaknesses, like I think that's a strength. Like I think it takes confidence to be able to do that, and maybe it's a new point in my life where I'm willing to talk about it. Because I think everyone sees that I like put out an edgy image, or whatever, the you that you show everyone, and that is like the real me. It's I just happen to hide myself when I'm having a hard time, and then I always try
Well,
to pull it out
it's
at the event.
hugely brave, Jenny, because it isn't just, I mean, if you think about it, it's so easy to make it seem in a short video clip how wonderful a weekend was, and a lot
Yeah.
of people do that. And then you actually go and look at the results, and it's not like that. And it's even harder, to portray the real person on the inside as well on social media. So I think it's huge for you to come out and talk about that and normalize it, because you're right, it isn't something that is spoken about very much.
Yeah. And I think social media have a little bit of a negative, maybe I've kind of almost distanced myself from it. I'm very rare to post an opinion or anything like that. And it's probably because I'm speaking to you guys and your friends that I feel comfortable to talk about that. Because social media to me, I just feel like, yeah, there's great things about it, but there's so many negatives. And um, I don't really think it's a great platform to speak about it. Like I think you have to like look someone in the, you have to see someone's face, and like it's not just writing it down on a screen. But I think social media is a little tough for me. Like I think I still put out you don't see me writing a bunch of stuff when I have a bad go. I just don't do that, and I just kind of have tried to avoid it at times and make a joke out of stuff. So yeah, it's
But I think that's a valid point too, right? I mean, I think the world that we live in, like, we don't talk about it enough. Like, even, I've talked a lot about that with the young pros I work with, because they see on social media all the time, like, that everyone's winning and doing great and has all these sponsors and all these things are happening. And it's a constant need to remind ourselves that sometimes like what's being portrayed is not necessarily what's happening in real life, and there are struggles people are facing. And I think you have to remind yourself that, and kind of know yourself well enough to remove yourself from that some days, or at big competitions, or things like that. I mean, like, even at a show like Kentucky, you've how to get the best mindset. That's all part of this game. And I think you're so good in the saddle that it people can forget that there's so much more to it and than just hopping on a horse.
and I think like being tough and getting it done and like focusing on work, that's always been an outlet for me. And so you don't really like I don't really want to hear about or read people's 3 paragraph long social media things about how their event didn't go well and all of that. Like to me, it's quite separate. And I think maybe I'm comfortable to talk about it right now because things are going well professionally. Like if it was like, oh, poor me, like that would probably not. It's probably this specific time and this specific place that I feel comfortable to talk about it. Yeah, because that's not at all who I am either. Like I'm a get it done person, and I don't really, I forget about all that stuff when I'm on a horse, which is probably why I do it. And
Well, and
probably why a
isn't
lot of people do it.
totally, and isn't
Yeah.
it so funny, because that is what gets you here in the first place, and because that has evolved so much within the sport, that you don't forget, you're staying very authentic to yourself, that it's about the horsemanship and that, the connection with the horse and why you're here in the first place, and not about everything else that you portray there. So, I mean, it is, especially when going into a Kentucky sort of environment, why it is so important for a lot of us to stay even more in our own little bubble and stay focused on the horsemanship and the training. And it's very easy to get overwhelmed with all the other distractions there.
I think when you're battling with your own head every day, like you're not really bothering to, and then like busy trying to make a living and whatnot. Like I just don't, that's why it's not that I'm like actively avoiding things. I just feel like I just battle myself and like that's all I can do. And it's not because it's on purpose. Like it's just because that's how my head is, So I can't handle like, I don't see people winning and think like, oh, lucky them. I mean, maybe when I was younger, I don't know. I just think like, man, we each have our own deck we've been dealt, and everyone's got pluses and minuses. And I just when you work real hard, I feel like you're not really worrying about what if someone's groom's riding their horse in an FEI event, or like like taking a video of someone doing something. I'm like, these people need to. I was like, maybe they probably don't have depression, and they probably don't have as much to do as I do. But I'm like, I don't have time for any of that. So I'm like, someone wins, I'm like, good for you. I'll try to take what I can, out, like, or if you don't agree with everything a rider does, like take the good part of what they do out. Who says you have to like love everything about them? Like find something to respect and then worry about yourself. Like, there you go. Worry about yourself.
Yeah.
I don't have a choice. So maybe it's easier for me.
Well, I mean, you spoke a little bit about it, but I think, like, just your evolution of coming from, West Coast to East Coast, and you've competed all over the country and the world now and all of that. And what advice would you have for your younger self, knowing what you know now?
I don't know. I often wonder how I've even gotten here at all. And it doesn't feel, I've thought, you think about it, because I talked to a lot of younger people up and coming, like there's never going to be you're going to make it. And then all of a sudden it's going to be different. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I haven't made it in my regards. You're always going to think there's always going to be something else you're striving for, like that, but that's what makes good people good. But it's never going to become easy. So like, love what you're doing now, I mean, it's not going to change. And I don't think I ever really thought it was, because I always looked at the mental health of people around me, even as a kid, and was like, I'm not sure about this sport. But I love the horses, so that was, but yeah, I think just, you do have to enjoy what you're doing at the time. And everyone says that, but it's not going to ever get easier. So what you're going through now, there's not going to be some magic person or magic thing that's going to change it. Like you got to figure out how to love it. And if you don't, there's no shame in getting out. If you're not doing it for the right reasons, like it's so, that's okay. I mean, like it's okay to, if people decide to do something else, I'm like, good for them. I'm not like, look at that quitter. I'm like, no, like you want people to be in it for the right reasons,
When do you feel like you are happiest and won and connected with the horse, and like, when you take a breath and you're just like, this is why I do it? When do those moments come to you? Is it in the competition? Is it out of Kentucky? Is it the day to day that you're doing? Like when do you have those moments where you just take a breath and just realize how lucky you are and how much you do still really love so much of it?
I love training the horses, and I've been teaching a lot and probably had some breakthroughs in my riding as well in the last little bit. And so, but I've always liked training them. Like I've always enjoyed that. But the problem is I give my all, whether I'm teaching a clinic and it's like emotionally very taxing and draining. So like if I'm teaching someone, it can like, I'm at that point still where I'm like, I'm going to give my all. I'm not just going to go through the motions. And so there's times where I'm like, oh my gosh, how rewarding, but it's not usually result based. I'll say that. Like, it's funny to have this winter have gone so well, and yet, I don't know, maybe when I was in the ring at the Aiken Showcase and I was like, we picked the music out, and I was like, it's a song that meant a lot to me, and the horse was going well, and I'm like, that was very rewarding, but I don't, the results have never been, I think the thing that's just driven me oddly. Like, because I got so into winning when I was young that you didn't enjoy it anyways because you were just worried about whatever to win the next time. So I think like when Stella lived, like seeing Stella Artois with Tyler, like that's very rewarding for me. And just like the little things, like I love going beginner. I love the young ones, honestly. You know, I think I probably enjoy that part of it, and I love competing. Like I'm smiling, like going cross country and stuff. Getting the right FE lifestyle is such a dream. But I think during these events, like a lot of times, everyone's so you're worrying about the next phase, and the next
Right.
day is the horse sound, and it's just like after the event, I feel like I usually feel quite exhausted after Kentucky, but both Burleys for some reason, I've had a really, I think Eric's helped me a lot. Like I've had a really nice time after like even this year's Burley that didn't go perfectly. I think it's like being around the right people, but I think we don't, we just, everyone just does a horse show and then leaves like right away. And I mean, it's kind of sad actually, but it's never usually at the time and it's not just ever results based, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it totally does.
Yeah.
If you could trade places with any athlete in any sport, who would you pick and why? It could be a horseback rider as well, but it could be any sport,
Shaun
any
White.
athlete.
Shaun White all day
Good
long.
choice.
Yeah, Shaun White all day long. I mean, his documentary is pretty neat. Just like listening to him and then like being so excellent in two different sports and like, you know, going through like some of the accidents he's had and coming back and like just how he's just clearly on another level. And I think that documentary is really neat to watch if anyone hasn't watched it. It's pretty cool. I didn't know about it until I think I was on a plane like in this last year and it was on and I was like, oh, hey, Philip, have you watched this? He's like, yeah, that's been out for like years. And I was like, okay, well, but
I
yeah,
haven't seen it, so
absolutely
I'm going
Shaun
to
White.
watch that.
Absolutely Shaun White all day
It's a really
long.
good
Like
one.
I just would love to be good in an extreme sport like that. I can't imagine. And let alone two, you know?
Yeah. So when you are strategizing, which may just be more instinctual and you don't think about it that much for on cross country day, what do you do that kind of gets you in the zone, or what do you need to do that's a little bit different from everybody else, or do you not think about that much? What is kind of your, because you do think about a lot of things mentally, and what has been your strategy? Has that evolved over the time
It's
that you've
definitely evolved over the time because I
yeah.
used to like walk around with headphones and like listen to music and have to be this, that, or the other. And now it feels so much more natural for me. I think like I was always competing in the States and then I got sent overseas twice, like to do my first 4 and 5 star when I had no business going and had trauma from that. And then I would ride really well in America and then I would do dumb stuff. And I'm like, what the heck? And so that like just freaks you out even more, I think, where now, like, I mean, I don't do as I used to have to, you know, do all this stuff and I don't really feel like that as much now, other than like I'll sit and like have a moment to myself or sit in the car and like close my eyes and go through the course and calm myself down more than anything, but I don't need to do it quite as much anymore. But definitely like over the last few years that's gotten easier. But when you fail in as many countries as I have and however many years it took me to kind of become what I should have been a long time ago, but for whatever reasons, you know,
And
that
then
like the being thrown in young and then you have something fail. I don't think people
yeah.
realize how much that traumatizes you because they take such better care of the young riders now. And I know I took better care of mine. Um, but yeah, I think it's just like there's so much more support now for these younger competitors than there was when like Will Coleman, I know we've talked about it, like then when he or I came up. And I don't think people realize like some people just want to go to like Kentucky. I'm like, I don't want to just go. Like you don't want to just go and then have it go badly and then you're going to be messed up for years to fix it unless you have like Eric really changed my whole competitive career, you know, and it's not that I didn't have great coaches or anything before. It just was the person to like talk to you and go like, no, I believe in you anyways, and like not just like walk away from the event when it doesn't go well, and like sit and you know it. And sometimes it just takes that time, you know, and the horses like you don't realize just time. It takes time to grow up, you know, and to realize like you're gonna fall sometimes and this and that. It's not a reflection of me at all, whether Effie Connery trips in a creek. I mean, yeah, that stinks, like, but I'm like, you're in Holland and your horse fell in a creek. And I'm like, sorry, Team USA, I did the best I could, but like that just happened. And that's sport. Like, it's not going to be perfect, but the best people just get over it really fast. And unfortunately, that comes with uh, a lot of time and experience, especially for me, because riding's always been all I've had. Like, I don't have a great family life. Like, it's not looking good for me to be in a magical relationship that's going to carry me off into the distance. Like, it is all I have. Like, so my whole self-worth was caught up in it, and that's when you're going to mess up even more. Like, so I think that's been a learning curve for me for sure.
Well, we're going to play a quick mini game now and switch gears, and we're going to see how well we know you, because Lynn and I know you pretty well. So we feel like maybe the odds are better because we're pretty bad at this game. Lynn has
It's
gotten
really
more right than me, but
hard to
it's
think of things like that with
yeah.
knowing you guys. I'm like, this isn't fair.
Well, it's called Two Truths and a Lie if this is your first Behind the Barn that you're watching. So Jenny's going to tell us two truths and one lie in any order she wants, and we're going to try to guess which one is the lie.
I went to private Christian school and um, ended up being on the honor roll and graduated early from high school. Um, I always dreamed of like riding on the U.S. Olympic team. That was my biggest childhood goal in riding. And I was a high school cheerleader and the flyer and sang the national anthem in my high school basketball games.
I don't even
I had to
need.
go way back
I
for you
believe the
guys to try to
honor
trick you.
roll won because I know how brilliant you are and how your mind works. So I definitely believe that that's possible.
I looked at her eye
Happy
contact like
National
I
Beer
was
Day,
working
everyone.
for the FBI and trying to be a lie detector. And the only time she looked away a little bit was what she told us first about being in the Christian school on the honor roll. But I do believe that that's possible.
I love you, Jesus.
Okay, which one? Tell us.
I'm going to go with A. What's your guess, though, before she tells us?
I'm gonna guess that the lie is the cheerleading one.
The lie
C.
is The lies be that I've dreamed of going to the Olympics, and that's my childhood goal, my pinnacle of riding.
We are really good friends who know
Yep.
you really well,
I-
ladies and gentlemen.
Because
Well,
actually,
that took a lot
Boom.
for me to, and the delivery of like
Wait, so
trying to not
you can sing the national anthem? I'd like to take a step back to that.
maybe not now after the years of like.
Okay, well, at some point I would
vaping.
like to hear that. Thank you very much.
Oh,
Because
yeah. No, it's been a while since I've been in the church choir, so I don't know. I might not be up to snuff.
well, you have
yeah.
a little time to practice before Kentucky, and then we might need you. We might need to call you in.
I'll leave that to Lainey Asker and Hannah Sue, man. I'm like,
you guys could do a trio, all three of you. You know
I like
what?
that.
Congratulations, Jenny. You won that round. That was well
yes.
done.
I was like,
True.
I
You
thought of some
completely won.
funny riding ones, like, I did Bramham as my 5th advanced, or I fell at 7 5-stars in 3 different countries before completing my first one, and it took 10 years. Is that crazy? I was like trying to think of some good riding ones, but I was like, you guys will know all those, so
Yeah.
but
Fun
I know.
facts
You're the winner.
about perseverance.
fun, yeah. 10 years until I jumped around at one clear,
Just
which is
keep
pretty crazy.
going.
That's the goal. Here we are.
All right.
Here we
Well, we know the fans always have the best questions. So we have a few for you from the audience. Marilyn from Florida wrote in to ask, Jenny has the most incredible trot-up outfits and style. In my opinion, she pulls off outfits no one else can. Where does she get her style inspiration, and how much planning goes into it?
Well, I'm very lucky to be sponsored by Holland Cooper now, but that's fairly new, like in the last couple years. Um, and there's a lot of random, like at Maryland, like I pulled that skirt out of the closet and had to like pin it up against my butt because it's like completely see through. So I like to like press that edge of classy, and then I like to throw in like, how's this like Amazon $10 see-through shirt from a music festival in there, and just kind of. I don't think Holland Cooper sometimes probably appreciates that. They're like, but I am very authentically myself, and I appreciate the fact that like Eric Duvander was like, really, he's like, don't just dress like everyone else, like you be you. Like, and sometimes you need the right
I
person to
agree.
say
I
stuff like
always
that.
like that.
Yeah. But I think there's been some bad choices. Like I remember I wore a trot outfit for Moulin one time. I'm like, David O'Connor's must have been like, I mean, because you don't want to be, you want to be like, you want to be dressed appropriately and classy, but I like to press the edge. I think I just am becoming more comfortable with myself, but there's some like $15. I'm trying that thing on like right before the trot up. That's happened more times than not, and me like randomly pulling stuff together from the closet like back in the day. But now Holland Cooper obviously is really helpful. But I'm still going in my closet and taking the sweater off and putting in the random. I want to be myself, and I want people to feel like they can be themselves too. And uh, it's probably a lot of like the Californian punk. Like I've just got that edgy vibe, and I think I'm more comfortable to show it. But there's been some random ones. So thank you for the shout out, because I know Holland Cooper makes it like, obviously my outfits are a lot classier now. I will say that, and I have a nicer outfit on than the money I have in my bank account. I'm like, I got $2 in my bank account, but I'm wearing a classy outfit for this trot.
You're
There's
like
been
Gwen
some random
Stefani a
Brannigan
little bit.
flair. Yeah, I agree. A little Gwen Stefani edge. All right, Lynn, your turn.
Yeah. So Casey from New Hampshire is asking Jenny, you always seem to smile through your whole dressage test. Is that something she really loves that much? I find dressage to be so hard.
Yeah, I'm grimacing a lot. Not a lot, pretty all the time. I mean, I think now I'll smile down the center line, and if I'm still looking like I'm smiling, it's like a grimace, or it's been so long that I've been trying to pretend that I like it and manifest that I'm going to be good at it one day. I'm like, do I look like Tammy Smith yet? Like, I mean, I hate it so much. But then Bettina was like talking to me at Aiken Showcase, and she's like, I was talking to a big judge right before I came in. They're like, Jenny needs to like focus on what she's doing more while she's in the ring. I was like, that's valid. Like I'm like, that could be. I'm like, I'm gonna stare at the ears and stop smiling and actually try to ride better. And it has helped. It's helped a lot. Funny that.
Yeah.
That would make sense. That does seem that could be helpful.
I'm like, valid
Okay.
point.
If one of your horses made you a dating profile, what would it say?
She always puts up with my stuff no matter what.
That's maybe a bad
She'll
boy.
put up with you no matter what.
Like she's not an abuser.
Maybe
She gives me treats whether I'm good or bad, and she takes all the blame on herself, which is a problem. And that's a good point. Yeah. It's always the rider's fault. It's never the horse's fault, kids. I don't want to hear any of that stuff. Such BS.
Well, Jenny, before we let you go, you've ridden a lot of horses around Kentucky now, and this is going to be, I don't even know, you must have lost count how many times you've been to the horse park here for the actual 3-day event. And
Well, I counted how many times I failed right before this interview because I thought that'd be a fun thing for the Two Truths and a Lie, but I've not counted.
I bet
many.
you've surpassed the failure rate. I
I don't think
guarantee
so,
you. I guarantee
actually.
you. All right.
I don't think so.
We'll place a friendly wager on this later.
Started from the bottom, now we're worse.
So is there something that you is there something that you think about when do you get emotional at all when you're kind of preparing and going down that ramp, like right before maybe not your dressage test, but before show jumping, especially on a horse that you've produced, all the way from the very beginning? Or I know you've had a lot of great partners and a lot of emotional times. And I think you've always been very good about talking about that partnership. What are you thinking in those moments?
Twilight's Last Gleam, when he did Kentucky last year, knowing like how I was really struggling with his feet and whatnot, that horse feels emotional for me because I know he gives his all to do it. But I've yet to it's nice. I've been like in the top 10 at Kentucky now and whatever, but I've yet to have a great Kentucky. We're like Maryland. I think I felt really emotional when like Stella did well there, but that was my first time ever having a 5-star go well. But it seems so much more, to be honest, I just feel so exhausted now. Time like that, but I've never won. Oh, I'm like, I've been 4th, 5th, 10th, but I've never won. And who knows if I hope it'll one day be in my cards.
Well, Now we can re-ask you once you've actually won the difference in what you're
if
thinking.
If Grandpa's ever in I guess he was in the top 10 at Maryland, but I'm like, if having Grandpa be in the top 10 at Kentucky, I'd take that as a huge win. So
JB, this year, without a doubt, we cannot wait to watch you, and we will definitely be cheering you on as it all unfolds every step of the way. We appreciate your openness, your honesty, who you are as a human being. I certainly appreciate, and I'll get emotional again because it's quite personal to me. But for our viewers, don't forget to send in your questions. We need your questions because otherwise it's just Lynn and and we can only come up with so many things for these people.
What other riders are left? I have a couple
Oh,
questions.
there's some good ones. So submit your questions.
Write them into us.
Yeah, write them into us. You can send them in at info@athletics.com. And don't forget to share this episode of Behind the Barn, a very important one, we think, with your friends, family, everyone else you know and can think of. And a huge thanks again to our friends at Bimeda for sponsoring this episode of Behind the Barn, as well as, of course, to Jennie Brannigan for sitting down with us. I'm Frankie Terry at Suits, and on behalf of myself and the one and only Lynn Szymanski, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on our next episode.